Kerry, can you tell us about the entity that was around you and how long it has been with you?
Yeah, when I was living in Brighton Le Sands in Sydney, lived on the sixth floor of an apartment block, and I had a 2-story apartment, and I moved in there when I was 18, and came from a boarding school background and into this apartment by myself, and it was a beautiful apartment, had water views over Botany Bay. But it was strange that I found it odd I didn't want to go out on the balcony. I didn't want to, I found it really afraid to go out on the balcony. And I didn't quite understand why. And then strange things started to happen while I was living there. I remember there was one instance where I was just sitting on the couch watching television, and there was these big glass doors that went out onto the balcony, and they were closed. And I had heavy curtains that covered those doors, and all of a sudden they just flew out in front of me and in front of the television, and I can't explain what that was. It wasn't a natural occurrence from wind. It was something a little bit supernatural. And another time when I was it was sort of early hours in the morning, and I was in my bed, and it was probably about 6 o'clock in the morning. The sun was just coming up, and I remember I was sort of half awake, half asleep, and I just had this feeling like I woke up but I couldn't move, and I was absolutely paralysed. And then all of a sudden my body felt like it was levitating off the bed, and I couldn't, I'm getting chills now actually thinking about it, but I couldn't scream, I couldn't move. I was just lifting up off the bed. And then as I fought against it, and I really, really tried to get out of this, break out of this feeling, and there was like a heavy sensation on me as well. And then when I broke out of it, my body felt like it slammed against the bed and actually fell down. That's happened to me twice in that same apartment. And I had a friend of mine who dabbled a little bit. She called herself a bit of a white witch. She was an Austrian lady about 10 or 15 years older than me. And she came over one night with the Ouija board out. We're trying to find out, don't do that. Trying to find out who this person was. And we uncovered a couple of details, and we did, the olive oil in the water and the candles around the house, trying to clear it and that sort of thing. But I remember this Ouija board, and it had like a 3 little legged like movement thing that used to spell out the words, and all of a sudden it started to spell D-E-V, and then she's like, quick, and it was flipping over, and it was like there was nothing touching this little device, and we were just freaked out. I was screaming. It was just ridiculous. But anyway, years later, and only recent, that was 19 years ago or so, years later, months ago from now, we came here, and I just always had, I feel like I see people, and like I can sense someone, and I think, have I got some connection with spirits or something, and really I don't like it. And everywhere we've lived, I've had this sense that there's always someone there. I hate being on my own. Like if, my husband's working late or I'm by myself, I just always, and it's not like, someone's going to break in. It's more like someone there all the time. And, I had these bouts of depression and all this sorts of thing. And anyway, my husband knew this lady who was, working in this field of the supernatural. And she came over one night and to look. We've moved into a new house, this house where we're living now. And said, he's like, we have to get it cleared. It's been going on too long. We've had all these problems with, spirits and stuff. And anyway, she came over, and at the end of like her assessment, she did an assessment at the house. She said, the house is fine, but it's you that actually have someone attached to you. And I just knew straight away who it was. And I always knew, to me, he was like a male who had some kind of really horrible thing happen to him, like he might have died, taking his own life. I just had this sort of sense about him all this time. And anyway, I asked her, and she said, you definitely can, cause depression and, all those feelings that you have. And she said he's attached to your energy. He's like feeding off you, like he just, really likes your energy, so he wants to be with you. So she performed this bit of a ceremony, I guess, to remove him. And, I don't necessarily believe in all of that, or, you sort of, you wonder, what's really right. And I'm interested in it. But I was kind of like, is this going to work? But certainly it took her a while, and she seemed to, be getting really exhausted from the process of it as well. And she said he was really difficult to remove. He didn't want to go, and he fought the whole thing. And she said normally once she shows them the path to, go to the next realm, they're pretty happy to leave. But he didn't want to. And then I remember, I don't know whether this is my particular spirit or not, but like the next day or so on Facebook, she was sort of saying, I've removed this person, and, now I'm, he's sort of wanting to come back, and I always wonder whether that was my spirit, because it's not something that she would ever say to you, but, it was such a weight off my shoulders when he was gone, and I don't feel as scared now, and being on my own, at home and things like that. So yeah, that's my, I guess, experience of having, this spirit attached to you, and how it manifests itself. And apparently it gets sort of, less and less like itself as it's attached to you as years go by, and it sort of becomes part of you, and you can sense that, it really changes, who you are. And yeah, so it's interesting.
So Kerry, in the early days, did you ever talk to anyone about this? Or did you keep it to yourself?
I guess my friends, I did, yeah, just, my concerns about what was going on, and particularly this friend of mine who dabbled in this field. We used to talk about it a bit, and that's why we, tried to, uncover what was going on. But you sort of think you're a bit mad. When I was out on the balcony at the apartment, I used to have a feeling wanting to jump off. And I'm not a suicidal person, that I'm aware of. But it was the weirdest, horriblest feeling. And it was not something that I really wanted to embrace or acknowledge. It's sort of one of those things in the corner of your mind. You're like, oh, just go away. You don't really want much to do with it. So I guess people who are sympathetic to that idea, you probably are more inclined to discuss, these sorts of things. Or if you're having a spooky conversation night, you might talk about the curtains flying, or, that levitating thing. But it's not really something, sort of people might think you're a bit strange.
So you've got no hesitation in telling people, if you got something going on, do something about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, that's an essential part, because it's, it can really alter how you feel, and even parts of your personality, I think, which I'm still, it's only been so recent for me, matter of months since, I had him attached for 19 years. So it's a long time to sort of rediscover yourself, I guess, as your own energy and aura or whatever. And I think it's important to do a healing as well. Some professionals, they can offer healing services, and I'm yet to do that. I think that, that's something that probably the next step, once I'm, have some time. I've got a brand new baby, so it's a little bit difficult at the moment, but yeah, recommend it.